Now I'm going to discuss next topic. I think you are all understood farm bills to some extent. Now this government is also going to bring another reform in electricity sector. In electricity, semiconductors is yesterday's one. But it's not about the chips and semiconductors. It's all about the power sector which you are getting this electricity. So you need to understand what is happening in this country, what was the problem with that sector, what they are going to do. Again, it is something like the same farm bills, but here there is a difference. I'll tell you. States are opposing, center want to bring it. We'll see how this will work. They have already introduced in the year 2014, but bill has lapsed in the sense, again, it has its own meaning. You will understand in polity, because if you don't pass it, it cannot continue for many and many years. It will lapse after certain time. It lapsed, but again, now they are planning, but we don't know when they will plan. But prior to that, whenever they will bring the bill, it's not important for us. But as a responsible citizen of this country and an aspirant of UPSC, you need to know some problems in the electricity sector. Now I'm going to discuss how this government is going to solve this problem. I'll explain. When I say electricity is in the concurrent list of 7th schedule of the Constitution. Concurrent list means because I have told like it is a union list and center list, there is another list called concurrent list. So when I say concurrent list, both union and as well as the states are having a concurrent power on that particular item. But as long as the center don't make any law or regulation on this item, states are having an authority on that. But once the center started doing any law or framing any rules and regulation, then state has to abide with the rules and regulations made by the union. If you want to override the union's legislation, then whatever the rules and regulations that you are making, which are in contravention to the union, they must get the assent of the President of India. If President of India gives approval to whatever the regulations that you have made, then you will be final. But otherwise, center is final. President of India assent means President Ramnath Kovind don't give. Again, only Narendra Modi gives the assent to that. Narendra Modi don't signs, but Narendra Modi give the assent to that. But Narendra Modi don't give assent, which is contravention to his own law. But anyhow, the meaning of concurrent is because tomorrow in the discourse, maybe you may read in newspapers or maybe in some discussions, no, it is something against the federal nature of the country. Center is taking away the powers of the state. Modi is taking all the powers of the state government. That type of things normally you will hear. Then when you write the answer, what you will say is center government is taking all the powers of the state. You don't know exactly. But the point is the Constitution has provided it in the concurrent list. State and center both having the concurrent power. But when center want to exercise the power, center's power is final. But why states are saying like it is taking away the power? Because till these many days, it was under the state government, center don't want to control it. But now center decided to control. Because you are losing the privilege which you enjoyed for last 50 or 60 years, that doesn't mean that it is an unconstitutional. It is a constitutional, but center don't want to exercise that power. That is why you have been exercising and you have enjoyed the power. You have done a lot of mischiefs. I'll come to that mischiefs. But now they want to bring the reform. And suddenly you are saying it is taking away the power of the center. No, it's not taking the power of the state. Constitution permits for that. First of all, you have to be very clear on this. Okay, is this point clear? Now, if that point is clear, I'll come to the exactly what is the issue in this electricity sector and how this bill is going to do and how we have done it in the earlier 2003 and 2014. Because why actually I am explaining for every topic with this much history is, If you don't know all these things, I know that you don't understand. I know that you don't understand. Simply, I can tell you the points like, okay, note it down, the Electricity Amendment Bill, Electricity Contract Enforcement Authority, Cost Reflective Tariff, SCRCs. You don't understand, I know. That is why, because you are at the very beginning, and even if you complete the entire course, I don't think so that you will be privy to this information. You need to search on your own. You have to explore it. Don't expect that everything, whatever I'm giving, will be taught in the class itself. No, it's not possible, because you need to learn many things apart from these things, many basic points. So please be careful, listen, and try to understand. Once you understand, no, you don't forget. If you don't understand, no, if you just read, no, you will forget. That is the point. If you understand, you don't forget. Yeah. Now, when it comes to the electricity sector, what exactly the problem? See, when I say electricity, electricity is having three main components. Three main components. One is generation. Again, no engineering, no, in this class. Is there anyone from engineering background? Especially electrical engineer? No? You are all from degree. That too, science and arts background. How many are you from arts background? Just raise your hand. Arts, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Remaining are science. Okay, whatever. Generation, but you need to learn some of the technical things also. Okay, because that is what UPSC is demanding. Okay, I think you have seen the last year prelims question paper. Lot of science and technology. Okay, but anyway, don't worry, it's not that difficult to learn. It's very simple. Three components are there in the entire electricity sector. One is generation, second one is transmission, third one is distribution. Transmission, third one is distribution. I'll explain. Distribution. Generation means generating companies. Generating companies means generating units. I think here also you might have. Do you have any thermal power unit in this Kerala? All are hydropower units. Thermal is there. Okay, let it be. Yeah, there are not. You don't know exactly, but hydel is there. But hydel is there. So wherever you are generating the power through power stations, that component we call it as generation. And whatever we are generating at the generating station, it cannot come automatically directly to your home. There is a network. That system, that the power which is generating at the generating station must be bring it to at your local level. Don't think like the power generating station should directly connect to your home. It's not possible. Maybe at your district level, or maybe at your taluka level, or at the mandal level. These are transmission lines. I think you have seen 133 kV, 444 kV, big lines with nothing. Those are transmission lines. That is managed by a company. Company in the sense, normally governments are maintaining transmission. So from generating, you are transmitting. A lot of technicalities involved in this. No need to remember all those things, how you will do and all. But whatever the transmission power that has brought to your local level, and you are having local substations like 11 kV, 33 kV. I think you can see, no, 33 and 11 kV local level. From there, 33 to 11, 11 to your homes, because normal transformers, they will arrange in your colonies, and from there you will get. The substation, that means whatever the 11 kV, what I'm saying, it's a substation. The substation to home is one aspect. Substation to home is distribution. The substation to generating station is transmission. Generating station is generation. Generation, transmission, distribution. Three components are there in power sector. Now, who will manage the generation, transmission, and distribution? Generation done by, in most of the states, government itself is doing. At the central level, some of the like NTPC, NHPC, they are doing. Apart from that, some private power generating companies are also there in this country. Generation is happening through private people also, but a limited scale. Both state government and central governments are doing. Whatever the state level we are getting the power generation, hydel power, it is run by the Kerala government. I don't know what is that name, but generally we call it as Genco and Transco. And here maybe Kerala Electricity Board or electricity generating company, whatever it may be. So they will do this generating function. And here private people are allowed and they are producing to some extent. And all your thermal, solar, wind, nuclear, everything comes under generation. Private people to some extent allowed here, along with government. Transmission. This transmission is not done by the private people because this entire lining and everything is maintained by the government. It's very difficult for the private people. That is why the government is running these transmission lines. And again, when it reaches to the substation, you will having the distribution. Discom companies, we call it as discoms. Distributing. Do you have discoms here? See, you will get the electricity bill, no? And that electricity bill, what is written on the above the electricity bill? KEC only. I think the same KEC is doing all these functions because you are a communist state, no? Maybe, I don't know. But here you are having whatever the KEC here, anyone is distributor, he is distributing here. So he will supply the entire power to your homes and he will put some meters at your home, and every month he will come and he will collect the reading and you have to pay the money to that guy. And whatever the money paid to the distributor, he will pay it to the transmitter and transmitter will pay to the generator. Because ultimately he is producing, no? Now this is exactly the structure. Now there are some problems in this entire structure. There are some problems. What are the problems? When it comes to the generation. Generation, what is the problem? For the generator, there must be enough demand. Otherwise, he can't sell. He can't sell. And this is not something like a fruit market or a super bazaar where there is a demand, immediately they will bring the fruits and vegetables and you can purchase it. No. You don't know what is the demand that is going to be. So for that, what we have done is, there is an agreement called power purchase agreements. We call it as PPAs. PPAs. I think you might heard about this PPA. Normally, the generation and transmission owned by the government. And sometimes in your state, it is also owned by government. In some other state, this is also owned by government, but commercially, they are a different entity. Owned by the government, but separate office, separate network. Now, there must be a PPA. PPA means power purchasing agreement. That means a distribution company must make a long-term agreement with the generator. Like for the next 20 years, I am going to purchase this much amount of power at a particular rate. If you give such a certainty, then they will generate. No, tomorrow I will tell you, day after tomorrow I will tell you, please supply this much today. It's not something like, taking from somewhere and giving. No, you need a lot of control systems are there, because suddenly you cannot stop the generation. Suddenly you cannot start the generation. These are all difficult process. For that, you need a long-term agreement. Now, whenever you are agreeing, lot of mischiefs are happening in these agreements. Lot of mischiefs are happening in these agreements. They are escalating the prices. That means I'll tell you. Suppose you are going to purchase 100 units of power. On average cost, just you are taking it as 7 rupees per unit. Total 700 rupees. Now, when you are concluding a PPA agreement, what you are saying is, instead of 7, I will pay 17, and you please pay back from that remaining 10, you pay back at least 6 rupees to me, and 4 rupees you keep it with you. Instead of 7, state is paying 17. In return, they are getting extra 6 rupees from the generator as a bribe, and he is getting a profit of 4. And when you are paying 17 rupees, who are paying 17? Like you and me are paying 17. And if I ask what you are saying, no, without PPA, they don't supply. And we don't know the futuristic aspects of demand and supply. So they are agreeing only to this rate. Otherwise, they don't agree. That is how you are doing a lot of mischiefs. When cheap power is available, Some of the state governments, they don't want to get even the cheap power. They wanted to go for the cost power because they are not paying from their pockets. It is public money, public money. And that too, there are traditionally some generating companies are fixed in this sector, and whenever a new private person comes into this sector and there is no PPA with that person, and if I want to start a solar generating unit with a 2000 megawatt and no one is there to sign a PPA with me, and today it is very easy to say that there must be a promotion of renewable energy, and I myself discussed on another day the targets of renewable energy. But when no one is to sign the PPA, how can he start a business in this country? It's not possible. Simply you can say like installing a unit on the roof of your home is not the same that of installing a unit for a commercially. It's a different thing. You need an agreement, and who can sign that agreement? Unfortunately, only DISCOMs can sign agreement, because DISCOMs are only having a connectivity up to the village level, and it is owned by the governments. And until and unless these governments come forward to sign an agreement with you, you cannot start unit in this country. You have to understand that. Simply I will start and I will supply it to you. Whoever wants, just bring the buckets and I will give the power to you. It's not like that. There is an existing structure. And do you think that, okay, you have started a unit and I'll purchase it, I will supply. I can't lay the road, I can't lay these lines and pillars. No, it's very difficult. Whatever the power I have to supply to the same line, supply through the same lines. I cannot lay a new line, it's very difficult. So that is the reason why you need to promote more and more generators in the generating sector. You must give equal opportunity to all the generators. It cannot be something like a monopolized and mischiefs that should not happen here. That is what must happen at the generating level. Okay. Now, transmission level. There is a loss called, we call it as aggregated technical and commercial losses. Aggregated technical and commercial losses. That means when you are supplying 100 units of power, almost 25 to 30 units are loss. I think if you just move along the lines, you will get lot of sound. It's all loss in the form of heat, sound, anything. Energy can be converted it into any form. Law of conservation of energy. Science students can understand. So the sound is also a form of energy. So lot of wastage is happening. We call technically as aggregate technical and commercial losses. This is very high. You need to reduce it. That's one problem with the transmission. But anyhow, this transmission is also owned by the government itself. Now I'll come to the distribution. See, I'll come to the distribution. In the distribution starts from here. It's a substation, and from every house they are supplying these 3 lanes, and they are supplying to each and every household. They are putting meters to every house and they are collecting. But unfortunately, what is happening is the aggregate amount of power supply that you are supplying, the bill that you are getting is not same. Somewhere power thefts are happening. Some people are taking the power illegally. And if it is a Gram Panchayat building, will you call it as Gram Panchayat? If it is a Gram Panchayat building, it's a government building, then you no need to pay any electricity bill. No need to pay in the sense they don't pay. You can pay it later. Whenever the government release the Gram Panchayat budget, then you can pay. Otherwise, you no need to pay. And you know what happened in Telangana state? I'll just give an example. There is some, I don't know the exact number, but take it a number of 900 crores of rupees that has to be paid by the Gram Panchayat to the electricity board, because they have consumed and they haven't paid. Now, what state government has said is, we are releasing the 15th Finance Commission funds to you, and immediately they have released today, and tomorrow they have taken back. And what they said is, these Gram Panchayats need to pay 900 crores worth of bills to government, because this is government, that is government, so I am taking away. Now everyone is questioning, you have transferred the money, but there is no money. Then Chief Minister said, where is the money? You have to pay the bills. That is why I myself has taken. So this is what happening in the state. Okay, Chief Minister has released this 9,900 crore, it's fine. But if you don't release, who has to bear the burden? I'll come to that burden. So these power thefts are happening, first point. And you are not interested to check all these power thefts. You are not interested to check all these power thefts. Second one. Now, state governments are good at announcing lot of schemes like, if I come to power, a household which consumes less than 100 units, I will give free power. I will give free power to who consumes less than 100 units. Or the house which is having only 2 lights and 1 fan, I don't collect anything. And some of the states are good at announcing, I will provide 24 hours free power to agricultural units. And some of the states say, like, if you invest in my state, I will give a subsidized power to you. You can give subsidized power. No one is questioning. But the point is, whenever you are subsidizing, what you are doing is, you are saying, because these discoms are your discoms, no? And you are saying to discoms, please don't ask the bills for this lane, because these are my people. Maybe the farmers, maybe the poor people, maybe the industry, but don't collect much from these people. Then they are saying, sir, okay, we don't collect. And they are not collecting properly from this. But the point is, if you don't pay money, they don't supply power to you. You are ready to give. But is the generating station ready to provide to you? No, because you are not generating. See, you have a generating power in Kerala, but Kerala's power may not be sufficient. You need to purchase it from Tamil Nadu, Andhra, somewhere. Will they provide? No, you have to pay. You have to pay. Now, what happened is, they are paying. How they are paying? When they don't have money, then what state is saying, okay, I have given a promise, and based on the promise, you are giving free or subsidized power to them, but you don't have money, no? Now, what will you do is, you go and take a loan, I will pay the interest and I will pay the entire amount later, so that we can fulfill it, but just go and take the loan. Because it's a government entity, not a private entity, and they are going and taking the loans. And that loan burden has went to such an extent of 2 lakh crore in this country. State government does not pay. State government is not paying because it's a government entity. Likewise, the discoms has become so problematic in this country. So problematic. And you may say quality power, you may say super power, you may say any power, when the supplier itself is in the loss. When the supplier itself is in the loss, how can you reform the sector? You can't reform the sector because the supplier itself is in the loss. So whatever the subsidies that is given by the state government, unfortunately, they are not paying on time to the discoms. If the government from your budget, yes, this year discoms, how much subsidy you have given? Sir, 5,000 crore. Take this 5,000 crore. And if they are able to clear all these dues, probably we could not have get much problems. The discoms have become so stressed. When the discoms are so stressed and the discoms are becoming financially so difficult to survive them, then they started raising the charges. They started raising the charges. And some of the generators, they don't want to sell to these discoms because you are already in burden. Where there is a guarantee like you are going to pay the money to us. So that is the problem. So because of this, the discoms are in much distress, and the government has tried to some extent to solve this discoms problem, but still no. The states are habituated to giving lot of subsidies on power, but unfortunately they are not paying it to the discoms. They are companies. It's not a government agency. You will understand over a period of time. A government company is different and government is different. I'm repeatedly making government. Government is different, government company is different. So you need to change all these things. You need to change the generation level. You need to change the transmission losses. Again, you need to change the distribution. Now, for that, what we have done is, in the year 2003 itself, Union government has brought a legislation. Union government has brought a legislation. They wanted to introduce private people into the system. They wanted to remove the subsidies. They wanted to reduce cross subsidies and all they have given. But again, immediately in the year 2004, there was a government change. And in the year 2014, Congress party came to power with a support of left parties. And left parties said, no, if you implement this, we don't agree. We will withdraw the support. Then at that point of time, the UPA government could not implement the reforms. Again, they have brought the bill in the year 2014 when Modi came to power, and it was there in the Lok Sabha. Some consultations happened, and the bill itself lapsed because they don't want to create all this problem, because again, agitations, everything. Now again, they are trying to bring it. But before that, they have brought a scheme called, I don't know how many of you heard about this scheme, Uday scheme. Uday, the scheme name is Uday. UDAY, Uday. The scheme name is Ujjwal Discom Assurance Yojana. Ujjwal Discom Assurance Yojana. Ujjwal Discom Assurance Yojana. This is what I'll tell you. I don't want to getting into the technicalities because now this is an expired scheme, but you need to know an idea. What this scheme is saying is, what are all the discoms are having the burden. Suppose just assume Kerala discom is having a burden of 100 rupees. In that, 75% of the burden now state can take. That means now the discom has to pay only 25, remaining 75 will pay state government itself. This is also state government, but as an entity, it is having 25. Now what they said is, even for this 25, to clear the 25 dues, you can go for a loan, and for that loan, state gives the guarantee. That means if you don't pay this 25, state will pay. That means almost like you are the reason for all this burden. Now you please take the burden. You may understand what greatness is there in this. It's already a burden. Again, it is a burden on state. Anyhow, state is going to pay. The greatness is earlier governments not allowed to transfer this debt directly from the discom to government, because every government is having a debt limit. You are not supposed to take a debt beyond this particular point. We will call it as fiscal deficit. You will understand it. But when you taken this entire debt, just assume now the Kerala government has taken a debt of 5,000 crores from its discoms. Now this cannot be calculated in your debt limit. This is not considered for debt limit. Suppose central government has given a debt limit for Kerala as, just assume 30,000 crore. That means in a year, beyond 30,000 crore, you are not supposed to take the debt. Anyway, you are going to pay this entire debt, but you cannot take how much you want. The debt is controlled by the union government. And whatever the 5,000 crore, it will not be added here. That means this year you can take 35,000 crore debt. This is not a debt under fiscal deficit. That provision has given. But if you bring these reforms, we will allot the coal first to you only. Whatever the loans that we wanted to give, we will give first priority you only. That means center is incentivizing the state to bring these reforms. If you do this, we will give first priority to you in terms of power sector. Then some of the states implemented, around 15 states have implemented. The total 2.1 lakh crore worth of the debts of the discoms were transferred to the state government. Now state will pay, discoms become clean. Now what happened is, after that, see, you have transferred all your debts to the state, but the same problem continuing, because next day also you are doing the same thing, again subsidy, same thing. Again, now it has run up to, I think I have the last year figure. I'll tell you the figure. As on March 2020, again, all the discoms are having a debt of 94,598 crore. Again, 1 lakh crore debt. After transferring the 2 lakh crore debt to the state, again, an extra debt of 1 lakh crore. Now it is there again on the discoms. Again, now you can't transfer it to the state because there is a limit. Center won't accept it. You have to pay. As long as there is a debt on you, discom, no new person will give the debt to you. From where you will bring? So it's all a difficult thing. Even for the DISCOMs with 1 lakh crore of debt, no bank can give the debt to it because it's already burdened. So as we are clearing the dues by transferring it from DISCOM to the states, but still they are following the same thing. We need to change it. We need to change it, because as the question of power sector itself is in question, the survival of the DISCOMs itself is in question, it is very difficult to bring the power sector reforms in this country. So that is the reason why they wanted to bring a new reform, that is, we call it as electricity reforms. Maybe they are going to bring in terms of bill. I'll explain some of the provisions of that bill. It was actually not placed, it is a draft bill, but definitely whatever the bill they are going to bring, they are going to contain these provisions only. First of all, I'll explain. There is a body called Electricity Contract Enforcement Authority. Electricity Contract Enforcement Authority. That means, suppose I myself as a state has signed a PPA with one particular generating company. This is a contract for 10 years or 15 years. Now this organization is going to implement that contract. In between, I cannot say like, no, I will go, I will pay compensation, I'll choose another one. That should not happen, because suppose today, I'll give an example. As a private person, I'm investing in this country in power sector. I'm generating, let it be some 10,000 megawatts. I have signed an agreement with Kerala government that I'm going to supply next for 20 years with a power with a cost of 10 rupees per unit. And tomorrow, and you came or someone came and they said like, no, I will supply it 9 only. Suddenly, if you cancel the agreement with me and if you go with the agreement with other, then what about all my investment that I have made? Thousands and thousands of crores of money. Some sort of certainty is required. You cannot do mischiefs. You cannot cancel it. You cannot shift. You cannot change the stance. That is the reason why for enforcement of all the contracts, till now there is no regulatory to enforce the contract. At the state level we might have, but they are completely under state government. So there must be an impartial contract enforcement authority. Then only foreign investors will come and they will invest in India. Otherwise no one will invest in such an uncertainty. That is why a contract enforcement authority must be required, and it is appointed by the union government, but they are not going to decide the price. Whatever the price, it is between state and the manufacturer, but whatever you have agreed to that, I will implement it. I will implement it. Okay. Next, cost reflective tariff, CRT. Cost reflective tariff. Cost reflective tariff. That means what? That means what? Cost reflective tariff means, I'll tell you. See, a DISCOM is purchasing a unit power for, just assume 15 rupees. Unit power for 15 rupees. But it cannot supply at the cost of 15 rupees to everybody in the state. There are some poor people. There are some entrepreneurs. There are some very essential medical industries. There are some emergency services. You cannot say I will charge 15 to everyone. So for some sections, they are supplying only at 5 rupees. For some sections, they are 12 rupees. For some sections, they are charging even 20 rupees. This is what we call it as cross subsidization. Cross subsidization. You are taking more money from somebody and you are compensating with somebody. And in this process, if any loss arises, state will pay that loss. Very good. A welfare oriented policy. Very welfare oriented policy. Need to be there. But what is the problem with this? What is the problem with this? The problem is what the central government has thought is tomorrow, because central government plan is something different. Because the existing DISCOMs are, they are only monopoly is there. We have to provide the license to the different players. Instead of having only KEC, now from tomorrow onwards, you are going to have a different ECs also. That means they purchase the power from somebody and they will supply it to you, they will collect the bills. Now government is collecting, private people are also allowed. If I allow private people, they will also demand to supply at 5 rupees. But can a private player supply at 5 rupees? He can't, because he is purchasing at 15 rupees. So if I allow this cross subsidization, I may not bring private player into this. Now the question is, why you need to bring the private players into this if really it is so harm? The government's argument is, when it is run by the monopoly, they are inefficient. So many losses. They are not collecting the bills properly. Whatever they are collecting, they are not paying it completely. They are debt ridden. They are not maintaining properly. This is what the argument. And moreover, a consumer must have a choice. That is what government argument. So what they said is, nothing doing, no cross subsidization. You have to reduce the cross subsidization. But what they are saying is, there must be a cost reflective price. That means whatever the cost that is involved in the production, it must reflect in the price. Does it reflecting? No. Does it reflecting? No. Is it reflecting? No, it is excess. It is excess. So it must be 15 rupees for everyone. And government will decide the tariffs to the power. Every year ERC we call it as ERC, Electricity Regulation Boards. ERCs will announce the power tariffs based on the, normally we'll say, based on the recommendation of the government, today cabinet has decided to increase the domestic power from 7 rupees to 8 rupees. I don't know how many of you are heard. Next time when power prices are increasing, just listen carefully. Government simply cannot do, ERCs will do. But whatever the tariff that you are deciding, it should not include subsidies. It should not include subsidies. That means, in a simple term, what I want to tell you is, the government is expecting to collect 15 rupees for everyone, 15 rupees from every one of us. But if you want to provide a subsidy, just give it in terms of DBT. In the sense, like how we are paying for our cylinder gas and how we are getting subsidy in our mobiles, whatever the account. Likewise, now poor people, you also collect 15 rupees, but give the 10 rupees to their account. Pay the 10 rupees in your account. That is what central government is going to propose. If that is the case, DISCOMs will not be in loss. Because DISCOMs will collect all the money from, if you want to give free power to farmer, give it. But let the farmer first pay that amount of money. Then if you want to give subsidy, immediately, you can send it to his account. That's what you need to do. If that is done, then DISCOMs will not be burdened and DISCOMs will run perfectly. Along with that, private DISCOMs can also be allowed. Licensing, you can give it to private people, and under this licensing, you can give sub-licenses also. That means for Trivandrum area, earlier ERC, now along with the ERC, A, B, C. Again, A can give sub-license to XYZ. XYZ can give license to a franchise. That means now I can start a unit, like how I am starting a business. I can start an electric supply business, and in that business, I can hire some 100 homes and I can supply the power to these 100 homes. And tomorrow, if you think that I am not supplying properly, you can choose another. You can go for another. You can go for another. This is what the plan is. This is what plan is. We need to improve the quality of power. And you need to give 24/7 a quality power, because power is a very necessary infrastructure facility in this country. Next, I think you understood cross subsidization and cost to price, cost reflective tariff. Now, I'm not getting into so technicals, but just I want to give a general idea. Anyhow, when the bill comes and all, you will understand, but you need to know general idea. Load dispatch center. Load dispatch center. There is a state level and regional load dispatch center. That means what is? Generator and a state DISCOM. In between, there is a load dispatch center is there. They will have a button. Okay, your agreement is what? Sir, 10 rupees. Okay. The agreement is for every 1 week you have to pay. It's not something like paying every day. 1 week or 1 month or 2 months, that is what. Okay, 1 week completed, bring 5,000 crore rupees. And if they see that 5,000 crore, then only they will on the switch. Otherwise, they will off the switch. That means the DISCOMs has to pay money immediately advance, according to the agreement. If you don't pay, if you say like, sir, I will pay next week, My state government has given a guarantee. Please take this guarantee. Now the state government should also compensate these discoms immediately. Immediately. Otherwise, there is no power. Entire power shortage to the entire state of Kerala because Kerala discoms have not paid the money to the generating companies. A business has to run in a business manner, but on the name of welfare, because you told like you haven't started economy. Once you completed economy, you will understand many things. On the name of welfare, what we have done in this country is we haven't allowed the commercial things to run on commercial lines. We have done same thing with the banks. We have done same thing with the public sector undertakings. We have done same thing with all other insurance companies. This is what we are doing. I am not against the welfare. I am not against the whatever the poor people condition. I am only saying that as you have committed to whatever the subsidy, do it immediately. Why you are allowing these companies to die with lot of debts? That should not be done. That should not be done. So that is what the purpose of load dispatch centers. Now they are going to bring in another thing. And they are going to bring a new renewable energy policy. And under this new renewable energy policy, now every state discom must purchase some amount. That means they are going to prescribe the amount of renewable energy from the renewable energy generator. Otherwise, it is very difficult to promote the renewable energy in this country because you are always thinking about who will invest, who will invest, who will invest. The question is who will consume. The question is who will sign the PPA. Now the central government is going to sign and going to fix a rate that this much amount of renewable energy every discom must purchase. So that they are good. You may say like, okay, Modi is giving benefit to Ambani or Adani. Okay, take that argument. But someone has to produce that energy. If really Ambani is producing solar energy, will you say like just because Ambani is producing, I don't want this solar? You can't say. Just because Ambani is running the flights, will you say, I don't sit in Ambani's flight because he's a capitalist? You can't say. It is your interest is prime. Unfortunately, in this country, we don't bother about our own interest. We will bother about somebody's interest. And if Ambani is making a profit on lakhs and lakhs of crores, we are so worried. And you never realize that he has started a Reliance digital store where you will get the quality mobiles at your doorstep. You don't think because your interest is not prime for you. You always think about something and you never think that whoever it may be, if he brings the services to my doorsteps, I will take care. That is your interest. Your interest must be served first. If your individual interests are, then only the country's interests are. But if you think like just because Adani will getting lot of profit, so I don't allow Vingam port in Kerala, who will lose? Adani will go somewhere and he will invest somewhere else. Our interest must be first. And unfortunately that happened. But the thing is, if you want to give a subsidy, give it on time. Let protect the whatever the things, and you haven't protected, that is see, I'll give a simple example. You have started a public sector undertaking. What you have done? Have you run on a commercial line? No. You are an in-charge minister and suddenly your relatives need a job, and that is why you posted all these useless fellows in the company. They don't know how to do the work, and always they say that no, we are the relatives of the minister, we don't do the work. And ultimately we realize that this company cannot run, so we will close it. The moment they say we will close it, you say like no, it is something against the labor rights. Had the labor worked perfectly, had the labor increased the production, had the labor brought the whatever the profits to that company, why government will close? After all, government needs money. But I'm not saying like it is a mistake of all, but it is a mistake of you. But everyone has to burden. That is what happened. So now you need to change that. So all the private licenses will be given, and even franchise will come. Generators will also come. You have to purchase it, and ultimately it is going to be controlled by center itself. And there is a SCR. Just a minute. There is a common selection committee. So there is a common selection committee at the national level. Earlier we used to have, I told you just now, electricity regulation commissions at the state level, and all the state ERCs and all this electricity contract enforcement authority, which I have given as a first point, and any committees that are necessary to implement this will be appointed by this committee only. This committee constituted by the center, and literally central government is going to control every aspect of the power in this country. That they are going to do. And what they are saying is, I am having the power under the constitution. You haven't run it perfectly, so I'm taking. And ultimately, whether center is losing the power or state losing the power, but center is saying it is the people are benefiting. It is more investment friendly. If you want to give subsidy, you can give, but through DBT you can give. You cannot burden these things. Okay, so that is one more thing. So electricity contract enforcement authority 1 point, cost reflective tariff is another, common selection committee is one, and these cross subsidies must be reduced over a period of time, and government subsidies should not include in the announcement of the tariff whenever they are announcing, and sub licenses and franchise will be given, and a load dispatch center, and a renewable energy. You must purchase it from the renewable energy. But still, the point is, most of the states, why they are opposing is, I think now you understood why they are opposing. You understood why they are opposing. Now they don't have any power. They don't have any power. They cannot simply announce that I will give the subsidy to you. You must looking into your finance first. If you think that you have the money, then only you can give the promise. And you are saying like it's unconstitutional, but I am proving it is not unconstitutional. It is constitutional. Because they are going to make a law. When they are making a law, how can you say that it is unconstitutional? Constitution is providing for that. Providing for that. But one thing. You see, it is a public commodity. That too, it is a basic infrastructure. On basic infrastructure and on a public good in the sense, a good which is necessary for everyone. I think you are from, okay, but that terminology cannot be understood by others, but whatever you have said is correct. So that means everyone is needed. Everyone is needed, like water, like air, like health, like education. It's necessary for everyone, and power is also something like that. But there is a tendency that when private people enters, they may exploit. They may exploit. But union government must keep it in mind that this public good must be accessible to everyone at an affordable price. It should not become, because I'll tell you, the thing is, a public good should not be taxed, and a public good should not be sell at a higher rate. I'll tell you. See, you are making a road. You are making a road. And if you collect a huge amount of taxes on the road, who will use this road? No one will use. Suppose I am a student. I am studying in a school or a college. And if you collect more and more amount of fees from me, who will study? If you want a revenue, after my education, if I joined in a job, then you collect tax from me then. If you want to collect the tax by using this road, I will do some activity. On that activity, you collect the tax. But don't do it on basic thing. If you do it on the basic thing, people don't use this basic thing. And when they stop using this basic thing, then they cannot grow. So as the electricity is a minimum basic requirement, and it is a minimum basic infrastructure, and it is a public good, now it has become a public good, it has a lot of importance. So we must ensure that, I am not saying like private people exploit, but I am ensuring that this basic good must be accessible to everyone at an affordable rate. At an affordable rate. That is the conclusion that you need to make for this. I'm nowhere bothering about whether it is Kerala government or Tamil Nadu government or some other government. But my point is simple: accessible and affordable, accessibility to power. And so that whatever the entire structure must be financially sound. Financially sound. They should not be burdened. Because if the DISCOM is burdened, do you think that Vijayan is paying from his own pocket? No. Again, you have to pay. You have to pay. It's a state government debt. See, I have given very clear, like, okay, debt is transferred from this to this and this to this provision is there. But who are going to pay ultimately all the debt? For the accounting purposes, it is beneficial for them. But ultimately, who are going to pay that money? It is you and me. You and me are going to pay the money. You and me are going to pay the money. So ultimately, it burden the public. Ultimately, it burden the public. Okay, so please keep that points in mind whenever the act comes. These are the provisions that you are going to learn, but just understood the importance of this And yeah. No. Okay. Can somebody try? No. Can you ask in English because I'm not Malayalam.
Center is the power to control provisions concurrent list.
Hmm.
Then why is it in first place in concurrent list?
No, I did not understand. Can someone again? You ask again. Don't worry. Ask again.
Like state and center is having equal opportunity to control the concurrent list.
Hmm.
Thing. So if the center is completely
I understood. So if center is completely taking the control of that item, why it has placed in concurrent? See, actually, when the importance of concurrent list is that constitutional framers has thought that there are some policy on some of the items which need a uniformity across the country. So that is they have placed in the union. For some of the things completely left it to the state because it's all depending on regional variations. But some items need some sort of uniformity in diversity. Some items cannot be as broad as union list. That means you cannot bring such a uniform policy, but at the same time, it should not have such a diverse things in that. So what we have thought is some items need some sort of uniformity to some extent, but under the broad uniformity, every state can have their own variations. With that intention, we have brought the concurrent list. So on concurrent list, a broader policy will be framed in some of the items, and state will have its own diversifying under the broad umbrella of broad policy. But some of the items state, because of one or other reason, center don't want and state controlled it. State don't control it. But today a situation has reached when you have these diverse policies, it is actually the questioning of the existence of the sector. That is where they are controlling. But the philosophy behind the concurrent list is where you need some sort of broader idea, and under the broader idea, state can have some sort of a different type of policies. Clear?
Case of this bill, if center is like taking away, then only state knows what's the purchasing power of the paper in that state. So if center is making provisions on that thing, how can we say it's going to be equal?
See, the point is why center is doing, how come center knows all these issues that you are asking? Yes, definitely center don't have any idea about the state, but center is saying I am having the power. Center is saying I am having the power constitutionally. States are saying like we have enjoyed, you don't know all these things. Now people will decide whether this policy is really going to benefit to them or not. People will decide. If really people think that no, central government is making a policy which is not at all good for us, this central government is a wrong government, they are making wrong policies, they are not understanding my sentiments. But if really people will benefit out of this thing, people will support to that. But whether they can do it or not, they can do it. They can do it. Is it really helpful to the people or not? People will decide. But according to the previous history and the previous whatever we have seen and the model we are suggesting at the experimental level or at the theoretical level, it's shown that it is going to be effective. If it proved wrong, then governments will pay the price. That is what the bad thing about reforms. If you really bring, if it becomes succeed, you are going to take the credit. But if it goes wrong, no, you have to pay the price for that. But constitutionally they can do. Constitutionally they can do. No one can question the authority of central government. At least you can agitate. You can agitate. You have that right. You can stage a dharna. You can convince him, but you can't dictate it because center is having that power. If they are dictating, then Supreme Court will intervene and Supreme Court will say, this is not your power. You are not supposed to do. But if you think like center is going to make a policy which is going to create some problem to the state, it has to be proved in terms of practice, not in terms of theory. Okay? Is it okay? Any other doubts? I think you are having another class. So is it clear for online students? Just.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Thank you.
Amrita IAS Academy.